get this party started with your Snoopy hat.
Leave my Snoopy alone, all right?
Leave Snoopy alone.
Yeah.
Leave Snoopy alone.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
It's going. Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm doing a bunch of shit and had to update Zoom and all the excuses that you could list.
We were just talking about that. We're like, I wonder if he's gonna have to update Zoom because that's usually the consensus when people come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying,
Well,
Chris normally has slight hair that looks like yours, but he showered and it's not working for him.
now
He's rocking a
well,
Snoopy hat.
leave
um,
Snoopy out of it, man.
I haven't showered in an amount of time that I won't disclose. So,
Hey, you know what? They say you're not supposed to shower that often anyways.
um, yeah, that's why I don't. I'm following the whatever they
Totally
said.
why.
hmm
Especially when it gets colder, because your skin gets drier.
That is a good point. I'm gonna make that next time my wife says, "When was the last time you showered?"
It's okay, it's okay. I'm pretty sure my husband hasn't like showered in almost a week now.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're not prone to stinking and you don't do an activity and you're just kind of sitting around the house,
There you go.
you
Hey,
know,
that's
I
okay.
wish, I wish I was that person. I got 18 hours of just sitting around before I'm ripe, and it's just
What great conversation we're having about stinking and when you should shower.
no. Okay, since
hygiene.
since we're talking about hygiene and showering, I got a real question. When you're in the shower, do you actually scrub your feet, or do you just let the water trickle?
Oh, I scrub my feet a lot.
Good. What about you,
Yeah.
Jess?
I've never scrubbed my feet, I'm
You've
sorry.
never scrubbed. Oh, you're a poor husband.
I mean, I'm a I don't get stinky. I'm not a stinky person, but my feet are the one part of my body that do stink.
Well, see, I don't get stinky feet, but my husband does. Maybe it's a dude thing.
It very
Does
well maybe.
does Taylor scrub his feet?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Call him in.
I'll ask him
Ryan
later and
uh,
let you know.
Okay.
Ryan, our guitar player, claims he never washes his face, and he never has.
Wow.
He doesn't apply
Ryan's
soap.
got some great skin if he has never applied anything to it.
He just gets in there and does the water, and that's it. Don't
See, I don't
understand.
scrub my face in the shower, but I wash my face elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't ever scrub it either. I just kind of do the normal thing.
The
I'm in there. I
normal
apply
thing.
soap to things.
Hey, as long as you're applying soap to things, we're
Yeah,
good, right?
that's what I've been
Beggars can't
told.
be choosers.
Exactly. Last thing I'll say on this though is the secret hair product is just the dirt of the earth, life. I don't wash my hair really, unless I dye it or bleach it or something, or I've been like around a campfire and I need to get a smell out. I just don't. I just rinse it well. You
I
know.
feel like somebody else mentioned this. We got on the topic of showering once before, I swear, Chris. And someone
Probably.
else mentioned that they don't wash their hair, they rinse it.
We're all over with hygiene in general on this podcast. Everything from bidets to showers, and
Yeah.
we're
Yep.
everywhere.
We got to get Mike Herrera back on so we can talk about bidets again.
Bidets are magical. Oh, one. Sorry. I got a new lamp
He's got a new lamp.
and I like it.
You can barely see it.
Yeah, it's just it's a little thing.
Chris normally has a dinosaur thing going.
Oh crap! I didn't turn it on. Thanks for
Oh,
reminding. It's
well,
all right. I don't
it's all
think
good.
you wouldn't be able to see it in the shot anyway. It's too far over.
No, I can see it.
Oh, can you? Oh yeah, it is. I'm not getting up.
Anywho, we should probably get this, conversation started.
Let's do a podcast.
Let's do this podcast. So, for people who don't know who you are, could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Adam Russell. I play bass in a band called Story of the Year, and I have a podcast called Thank the Maker, a Star Wars podcast.
Yes, yes, you do. Both
Those are
of
my
those
jobs.
things. Those are both your jobs. You're a busy man. I know you
Yeah,
used to
correct.
work. Didn't you work in a mall once, like at a sunglass place or something like that? Or
No, I worked at
no,
Apple in the
Apple.
years that I was not in Story of the Year. I left the band to just kind of go just be a normal person for a while. And I always said, kind of tongue in cheek, that if things ever didn't work out with the band or it was time to go, like, I'll just work at Apple or something. Like, it's fine. I'll figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. It was good. It was almost 7 years because when I rejoined the band, the pandemic happened almost immediately. And I just, we had to make things happen, had to pay bills. So just kept working there while we started things back up with the band. And then it got to a point where the band could be full time again. And here we are.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that because I know you were kind of on a hiatus from the band for years. I actually interviewed you and Dan like forever ago at the Rave in Milwaukee,
Oh, nice.
and that was probably like it had to be like '05 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Really long time ago. But yeah, I was gonna ask like about that. Like, has the dynamics changed for you since you've been back in the band at all?
Um, I mean, we're the same original four, so in a lot of ways we're the same as we ever were, but we're adults in ways that we need to be now. So our dynamic is better, but we're still kind of the same people. We still piss each other off in the same ways, hopefully a little less than we used to. But the dynamic is, I would say, better than it's ever been,
Yeah.
um, which is a good feeling because most people kind of go in the opposite direction, it seems like, with bands.
Yeah, especially these days sometimes.
Yeah.
Has your role shifted at all since coming back? Do you still help with like writing the lyrics and everything?
Yeah, we've gotten back to writing as a group, especially since we started working with co-writers. Everything becomes a group effort, which is fun. And that's something that a lot of bands don't do. Typically, the singer kind of like fully takes the reins on that, but Dan plays every instrument. He's always contributed to some degree on every instrument. And we used to take these lyric writing trips in the early days, like before Page Avenue, and we would go to the lake or we go to like this like little mini shitty ski resort place in St. Louis. The kind of the kind of place that you go when you don't live in a place with mountains. It's just a big hill, essentially. We'd go and all get in a cabin or something and just write lyrics for a whole EP or something. So it's always been part of our band, and we're back to doing that now, and that feels good in that sense. So that's kind of like a return to original roles kind of thing. Ryan's always been the primary writer of the music. Um, I naturally kind of fell into the technology part of things. So with backtracks and any of the other things that we use live, now it's without analog guitar and bass equipment. It's things like MIDI switching, that's connected to the track, so Ryan doesn't have to be stomping on pedals the whole time. That's all done via computer. So all of that stuff is now, or the vast majority of it is on me, which is good, because being in a band isn't just making the music, it's making the show, it's bringing it all together. So we all have different roles, and it makes sense that I do that. I've always kind of been that guy, and it's fun. It's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Sometimes I enjoy the the creation part, the production, like the problem solving part more than I do the actual performance in some ways. Especially when we don't play as many shows as we used to, that there's more pressure on the performance because it's harder to get into a reliable rhythm where it's just automatic. So everything is like, oh God, did I set all that shit up right? Oh my God, okay, 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 okay. But leading up, it's fun. It's problem solving. I'm into that.
Maybe that's why you were at Apple for 7 years.
100%.
Problem solving.
100%.
I wish someone could have problem solved my laptop back in like 2011, but they pretty much said it was just a giant paperweight.
Rest in peace.
Yep, I still have it. It's probably going to explode on me one of these days.
I would remove the battery. Yeah.
But yeah, you guys had Tear Me to Pieces come out back in 2023. Phenomenal record. Definitely one of my favorites. Fast
Thank
forward
you.
to now, you guys are amping up for the new record, Arson, and
Hmm.
released Gasoline about 2 weeks ago. And then, you know, everyone's talking about that. It's definitely a heavy hitter. Now, I've seen a lot of stuff online and people are loving it. What can you tell us about the song and the writing process for it?
That was a song that I don't think any of us anticipated would be a single. And I would say the lyrics kind of make that obvious, to anyone who thinks about songwriting and what you might anticipate or how you might shape songwriting. In if you have a moment where you think, oh, this could be a hit, this could be a thing, you might lean towards, okay, let's make this as give this as much mass appeal as possible. But that one, we just said, fuck it, and we were just kind of having fun with it. The lyrics are kind of tongue in cheek, and it everything just went completely unhinged on purpose in the best possible way. That song instrumentally was written because Ryan made a conscious effort to add a few more kind of like modern heavy songs into the mix. So last one was a little lighter. In the past, heavy stuff has often been more like old school metal kind of influenced. So he wrote these couple heavier ones, and it feels great to have written something that we had no intention of trying to make into a quote hit or a single or follow that format, and then it turns out to be the one that people love. Management and label and everything were like, yeah, that's the lead off single, that's the one. And we all kind of just said, okay, sick, yeah, that works for us. Obviously, the radio edits and things like that come into the picture, stuff we didn't anticipate once again. But the thing that I was most stoked about, one, I loved the song, but two, I knew that we could make a sequel to the War music video for this one, and that's exactly what we did. And we ended up making something even more absurd and funny and awesome, and I couldn't be more stoked on it.
I love the music video.
Thank you.
Yeah, which I know you were co-director along with Jordan Phoenix. How was that experience, and what made you want to bring back those characters for more?
We As soon as we made that video, we've been talking about making a funny video our entire career because all the other stuff we've done outside of music, outside of our videos, or our official music videos, has always had a lot of humor in it. We got signed from a VHS tape, not a demo, like a VHS tape that was us just in full Jackass, Blink 182, fucking Beavis and Butthead mode, essentially. Ryan and I have always been filmmakers to some degree, and we've always just done the dumbest, funniest shit we could do, even though we have very serious music. And we kind of envied bands that didn't have as serious of music or that managed to balance it somehow. Foo Fighters were a good example from music we grew up on, that they could have fun with the music videos even if the songs were funny. And once we finally did it, we made this video for War, which was inspired by the movies within the movie of Boogie Nights, which is, as a band, like one of our favorite movies. The Dirk Diggler films that exist within that world, they're really bad, but in this like awesome, campy 70s cop movie kind of way. So we wanted to make that. We did it, and it worked. And we instantly said, we're never making a serious video again. This is too much fun. So we knew we wanted to bring that back. And when I started to talk to Jordan about ideas, I do a lot of writing, and this this idea for kind of leveling it up, putting those characters in another situation, popped in my head, and I developed it, fully wrote the whole thing out. There's this entire what do you call it? Prelude. That's not the word. This entire opening scene that would have been dialogue and everything that we didn't have time to write, but it's something that directly connects it to War, so it's a direct sequel. And I just love the idea of these cops. I mean, they're essentially cops who are just idiots. They're just buffoons. They're kind of like MacGruber meets Inspector Clouseau, but on the level of like Commando. Um, and the way that these dudes look, all so much of it was we had a general idea of what we wanted to look like, but it was playing around in wardrobe for war that we kind of discovered these looks, like the wig and everything, all of that stuff. We just pieced together things, and so these characters just kind of came to life, and we all loved it so much we just couldn't stop laughing. So we wanted to take it to another level. I wanted to get back to directing, so Jordan agreed to co-direct with me. To be honest, it was insane and stressful, and at times felt like a debacle. Neither of us had ever co-directed before. Well, I had co-directed with Ryan, but it was a different vibe. Um, conflicting ideas and sometimes agendas and interpersonal stuff and all this kind of shit. It was a really stressful couple days, but in the end, it turned out great and it was fully worth it. It was the hardest edit I've ever done. We packed so much story into 2 minutes and 59 seconds or whatever it is. But like I said, I couldn't be more stoked. And there will be another. There will be a part 3 at some point. I don't know if it's going to be on this album or the next, but the War Squad will return.
I think that'll be fun though. Like you had
Yeah.
one for Tear Me to Pieces. Now this new album's gonna have a video that's intertwines with the a song from that one,
Yeah.
just to keep that going. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I could tell
We
right
have some
away.
other
Well, I
ideas.
knew right away because the characters were back that it had to be
Yeah.
tied into war, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh. And my favorite part's when you pretty much, survived your gunshot wound with magical beer.
It there's a lot of I mean, beer's mostly water, and our bodies are mostly water. It's science.
It's science, just that pour of beer, and
It's got to hydrate the wound, you know what I mean?
you don't got a gunshot wound no more.
No. I mean, it was there, but I had what I needed to move forward.
My husband said that his favorite part was Dan kind of in La La Land while you guys are all shooting and he's in the gun room.
Dude, that that was one of those great moments that came just from the location scout. We were kind of it's that's a family member's house, so I knew the house, but in there in the tech scout kind of looking around and figuring out how we're going to take the treatment and execute it in the space, that just occurred to me in the moment. Oh, this not only because Jordan said this looks really nice over here. We need to do something here, and then immediately it was like, okay, Dan's in here. The music cuts away. He's just having a cocktail, and it's just chaos outside, and he couldn't give a shit less. And I also, in my mind, it had like the energy, the vibe of Superbad when they're with McLovin at the bar, and they get on the radio. You hear, sort of come to the, oh god, there's so much blood, and they just turn it off, and they go back to drinking. That it was that in my head. So I'm glad we actually got to pull it off.
Well, you achieved it, that's for sure. Now here's a question I'm sure you've been asked, but I must know. If you're able to share, what can fans expect or not expect from this new record? Is there anything that might surprise people?
Mm, I would say if the track listing wasn't already out and you couldn't already see the features, I would say surprise, we're going to have someone featured on a song.
Yeah.
So as everyone knows who's looked at Spotify or Apple Music, that's Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. We've known Papa Roach for a long time. Not as well as we do now. We were getting to know them better. Our guitar tech Bon has been working for them for almost half a year now, I guess. So we've gotten to know them. But what's funny is my old band opened for them in St. Louis 25 years ago, maybe more, when they were on their first album cycle. We played a show with them at some point. We played radio shows here and there, and it's always been like, hey, so and so, yeah, yeah, and we kind of just we were lightly acquainted, and it was through Colin Britton, who produced the last album and this album, that we got to know them a little bit better. They were familiar with us. We, of course, have always been big fans of them, and he, having produced their album, said I could probably get Jacoby on a song. We talked about a bunch of different features and things, but there was this song that we did called I think "Fall Away" is the final name, Dan actually, in the verse of the song, had originally done the vocals, and it was awesome. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's got more of like a hip hop kind of vibe to it. But he did it a little screamier, a little more like hardcore kind of vibe, almost like Madball in a way. Um, and when we were talking about Jacoby, he said, "Well, they're going to be in a month or so. I'm almost positive I could get him on. He loves you guys. I think this would be the song." And it was obvious to us, like, yeah, that would be the one. So it's awesome. Everyone's gonna love it. But I also do miss Dan's performance because it was so good and so like out of the box for Dan that it's a little bit sad that no one will ever hear that. But we have Jacoby from Papa Roach on our album, and
Yeah.
what's not to be stoked about?
Could always make it a hidden track. Bring back hidden tracks.
Yeah, yeah, only on compact disc.
Or for the live version, right? I would imagine if you perform it live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
won't be there unless you have backing vocals and everything.
he won't be there unless he is.
Yeah. Speaking of backing vocals, a Sodi Discorder wanted to know if you're going to be doing more backing vocals on this new album.
I haven't recorded anything,
No.
just live stuff for me. And with the newer songs, they aren't as, since we're back to kind of like the early days in terms of like what the vocals do and not layering things like we did in the middle albums. There aren't as many opportunities necessarily. It's often like whatever's needed. If we cram if way too much stuff into a part and I need to do a part so Dan can, take a breath for the next part or whatever, and we layer it in that way. Of course, gang vocals, yeah, but we just haven't gone there, I guess, like the two vocal things, so it hasn't been needed. That
Yeah.
said, like, I could sing a little better than I used to, so it would be possible, but I don't know. I've got other things to do. I gotta be jumping and shit. I'm playing bass. I'm busy.
Yeah, breaking your feet.
Yeah, the usual.
The huge.
So I want to go back for a second because you mentioned that with a couple of the heavier songs, you've tried to put in new elements, like a more modern heavy song. What are some of those elements that were included versus maybe what you would have put in before?
I mean, I think that specifically is the thing. Kind of like updating that facet of our band because the it's not that we're not it's not that we're not fans of the kind of heavy that we used to do anymore, or the kind of bands that influenced that, whether it was like Metallica or Pantera or Van Halen or something. Not that Van Halen was that heavy, but like older metal stuff. It's not that we don't still love that. It's that what makes sense for us now, what we're more influenced by Ryan specifically, what the kind of heavy stuff he's influenced by is more modern. Like Sleep Token's one of his favorite bands right now. Bill Murray, he loves them. So it leans that way, but at the same time, it also kind of brings it all the way back around to the beginning in the sense that a band like Deftones has always been a core influence for us. And as they evolved and got heavier, it was the down tune, kind of big riffy, um, kind of groovier stuff. So that for sure. I mean, aside from that, I think we on this album did the thing that we should have done from the beginning, which is naturally evolve from the prior album and just focus on the things that we loved and that people resonated with. We kind of rebelled against Page Avenue with In the Wake of Determination, and I
Hmm.
love a lot of the music on there, but in hindsight, that wasn't the best move, to be honest. We always look at Linkin Park. We reference them with their first two albums as a band that, in the moment, you might think, when they put out Meteora, this is kind of just like Hybrid Theory, but just more songs, which is not a bad thing at all. People love it. Give them more. If that's what you do as a band, just keep doing it. Do what works. So we kind of took that route. Tear Me to Pieces, Connected. People love it. We love it. Let's just go do it again. Same producer, same writers. We added a few folks to the mix. This writer Dan Book, who co-produced, did probably more than half the album, I think. Um, and we leaned into what makes Story of the Year, while kind of turning up the knobs in certain areas that we felt like we wanted to lean into more. And if I sound like I'm there's not much, if I sound like I'm not answering this question very well or saying much, it's because you guys have only heard one song. So I don't
This is
want to go
true.
like
Have only heard
spoiling
one
things,
song.
nor do I want to talk about a bunch of shit that no one can make any sense of because they haven't heard it yet.
Yeah. I remember when Page Avenue came out and then In Wake of the Determination came out. And
Hmm.
I'm just like, I actually had it had to grow on me because it
Yeah.
was a lot heavier.
Hmm.
But I can definitely tell like Tear Me to Pieces and then you have Gasoline that just came out. I could see how that would kind of be, similar to like the war song.
Hmm.
And I do love Tear Me to Pieces, so I'm definitely excited to hear what else is coming.
Yeah. I would say War and the song Tear Me to Pieces are probably like the the lineage that came from, and obviously turned up a little bit. And there's another song that we thought was going to be the first single that felt like the absolute natural next step from the song Tear Me to Pieces. Something that kind of checks all the boxes of the Story of the Year sound the way that Tear Me to Pieces does.
Yeah.
But that one will be coming sooner than later.
I was gonna say, when can people expect the next single? Are you guys gonna roll them out a few before February?
Yeah, definitely. The cadence of that is still to be determined because Gasoline's doing well, and we don't
Right.
want to put out another song and kind of um, cannibalize our own potential success right now with Gasoline. We don't want to overshadow it or kick it to the curb too fast. So we're adjusting the timeline a little bit. But that's a good thing in this case because it could have gone the other way. It could have been something that people didn't click with, and we just go try again. And that with the music video in the mix would have been pretty sad for me.
Hey, I think it's doing great.
We're pretty stoked. People are stoked. We're stoked.
Just because this is off the cuff, Jess, because it's not in our list. Just because we're talking about the different albums and progression, what's your personal favorite Story of the Year album?
Well, I know it's
Uh,
not the constant.
it's not the constant. It was when we made it. We were so
That's
pumped. I
true.
don't I don't know. I mean, it's always that thing. You make something new and you're in love with it for a minute. Um, it's hard not to pick. It's hard not to pick Page Avenue because it's the album that put us here. I wouldn't be talking to you right now without that album. That said, shit, I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say the Black Swan, but Tear Me to Pieces also is now extra special because it was kind of like a rebirth and it put us back on the map, and the timing with the resurgence and the anniversary of of our first album and us becoming a band, all of that is it's such like a perfect storm of things. But the Black Swan does like kind of hold a special place, even though it wasn't as personal in some ways, in a lot of ways, as Page Avenue and Tear Me to Pieces and this new one. Like lyrically, Dan and I were still on some like socio-political cosmic gumbo shit. But there is a lot of personal stuff in there for us. Dan and I wrote a lot of lyrics inspired by, well, Wake Up specifically. That was inspired by Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. There's a clip from the Pale Blue Dot on that. Angel in the Swamp is, I think, one of the most personal songs he's ever written. Dan wrote that entirely about an actual message he got from a fan. And musically, it has just some of the coolest shit on there. And we recorded that album at this producer's house on the coast in Virginia in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. So we all lived and wrote and recorded together for 2 months, I think. And it was just like some of the best times. It was like going to music camp, to like summer camp on the beach, but you get to record an album and drink a bunch of beer and play Halo and just it was an amazing experience. So that's all wrapped up in how I think about that album. So is it cheating to say Page Avenue and the Black Swan and Tear Me to Pieces?
No, but I do feel deeply validated for the Black Swan being my favorite now. So
Awesome. Yeah,
Deeply
I think
validated.
I think a lot of people until a core fan base until Tear Me to Pieces, the Black Swan was kind of like the one.
It is a favorite in the Discord, but so is like in Wake. But I don't know. My favorite is Big Blue Monkey because that's what got me into you guys.
Damn.
And then Page Avenue because that's what
Yeah.
kept me into you guys.
Awesome. I mean, it's good to hear. OG.
It is OG, and I actually have the album somewhere in my room, and it's got three signatures on it. The Big Blue Monkey one.
Who are you missing?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I
Well,
have Dan, and I think I have you and Greg.
oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Greg, for sure. But I'm like, I
Yeah.
think I have Greg's signature, so
Amazing.
I am missing Ryan's on the vinyl of Tear Me to Pieces though, since he was sick at the record release thing before the hometown show.
Well, bring it to the next show, and if he doesn't sign it, I'll punch him in the face. I won't really do that. I can't
I
punch.
mean, I would love to have him sign it, but unfortunately, I can't afford VIP.
Mm. Well, we're around.
I
Fine if
know
we're around.
sometimes see people will do VIP sometimes and then they don't come and hang out with people at all
Yeah,
at the shows and I'm like, well that kind of sucks for the people that potentially couldn't afford to,
yeah,
pay for VIP.
that's
I
true.
get the idea of VIP, but at the same time, I have been to shows where they've done VIP and then at least the singer or someone comes and hangs out still.
Yeah.
But it is a lot to have to hang out with everyone that comes to a show. I get that for sure.
There's also an element, I think about this sometimes, um, of honoring the fan experience, like the inverse of what you said. If someone pays extra to
Right.
come hang and get something special, and then you just go sit out on the curb for an hour and just chill with everybody, and it's like, fuck, what did I pay for? I could have just hung out on the curb.
Yeah. No, I see that too, and I
Granted,
understand why people don't come out afterwards, but at
yeah,
the same time, I'm like, ooh, I'd like
granted,
to see you guys.
yeah. Granted, we do the sound check thing. There's always merch involved, so we try to get people their money's worth on that level as well.
Well, yeah, and then you got like Census Fail, who's like playing Uno or something with
Dude,
their
I'll play
fans.
Uno all day. Like we've talked about so much shit with our band that we haven't done. I mean, I'd rather play a board game or fucking bags or I don't know, a handstand competition any day than just, play
Well, we
more
all
songs
know
to
Ryan
soundcheck.
would win.
This is true. This is
He
true.
he almost was a Ninja Warrior.
He was. He was one.
He didn't make it very far, but I'm
What's
surprised he
messed
didn't
up?
try to do it again.
Yeah, me too. I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, he might have. But what sucks is, for anyone who's seen that, the thing he missed and he fell on was just a fluke. He said, trying not to brag, he's like, dude, honestly, I was so freaked out. I trained so much, and as soon as I got on that thing and ran it, I was like, oh, this is easy. I can do this, which I fully believe. He's one of the most athletic people I've ever met. So I think given another chance, he would shred that thing.
Yeah, they should give him a second try.
Yeah, you would think. You get a couple runs, you would think, but it's a game show, so
It's true. And they're supposed to be warriors, so they're supposed to be able to do it all in one swoop.
otherwise they're dead.
Otherwise, they are dead. We were just watching commercials tonight, like those TV shows where you have to like make through the obstacles and you get whacked in the face with things and stuff. And then we were
Yeah,
like, I wonder how many people actually get injured in that show, those
I've been
shows. I'm
thinking that
like,
like
a
the
lot.
Japanese show, right? Wipeout or whatever it was
Yeah,
called.
something like that.
They also have the skateboarding one.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that. I can't remember what it's called, but I mean they have lots of pads and fun stuff. But if I mean a metal rail is still a metal rail, whether or not there's water below it to fall. If you fall on that metal rail, you're fucked up. You're gonna fuck yourself up.
Yeah, Casso, however you
Yeah.
pronounce it. Yeah,
I think
love
they
that.
should do like a group Wipeout, where you have like bands come on and compete on Wipeout.
I think
I
that's a great
really,
idea.
I did really like the Japanese game show, The Hole in the Wall, where they had to try and fit in the shape that was cut into a wall, and it came toward them,
Yes.
and if they didn't fit, they got
Yes.
knocked into the water. And then the Americans did it and just made it awful. But
Yeah, Japanese are better at most things.
there was, I don't remember what game show it was. There was a Japanese game show where they had to try and sit in almost boiling water for as long as they could.
Oh my God. Hard pass. No, thank you.
That would be hotter than a hot tub. And yeah, I can't even stand a hot tub too long.
Yeah, it's like the scene in oh, what is it called? Shogun, where they boil that Spanish sailor to death. Have you seen that? Did you watch Shogun?
I have not.
It's
Mhm.
amazing. Great show. It was Hulu, maybe HBO. Anyway, um yeah, they just put a dude in a giant ass cauldron and they just boil him.
Huh. I'll have to look it up and see if it's something I'd be interested in watching.
It's incredible. It's not for everyone. It's like fully subtitled. So if you're not into, watching foreign language stuff and reading subtitles, maybe not your vibe. It's kind of slow, but it's beautiful cinematically and it's great storytelling. And the lead is what's his name? He's the dude. He's in Inception. He's in The Last Samurai. What is his name? Anyway, he's an executive producer. He's one of the lead roles. He's great.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Now, I mentioned Census Fail and Uno. Now that
Hmm.
tour is coming up. That's going
It
to be a
is.
good one.
It's a
How
couple weeks.
excited are you for it? I mean, it's been a little while since you guys toured with Census Fail before, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're good friends, and Jason filled in for me
Yep.
on the used tour a couple years ago. So it's gonna be super fun. We have a little break right in the middle for Thanksgiving, so that's nice. Breaks up, a 4 week tour, and we're covering the entire country, even though there are some regionally, like we're missing some areas that I would love to get to, but still, it's more shows than we've done in a row in a long time in the U.S. So I'm stoked on that. Stoked to hang with those guys, and we get to play new songs. Get to play them every night.
Yeah. You
So
guys going to premiere any other new singles on the tour or just play Gasoline?
I would imagine, I would definitely hope that we would have another one out during the tour. Um, I don't, again, I don't know what the release schedule is, but
Right.
I mean, as soon as it's out, we're playing it because, Gasoline dropped and we played it the next day when we
Oh
were young.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw videos online right away.
yeah,
Everyone was always like, "Oh, like, yeah, it even kills like live."
yeah, it's really fun to play. Like some songs take a while to get, like War took a while for me to get into playing live. I don't know, I didn't immediately drop into the feeling of it. I don't know
Yeah.
how to explain that fully. But Gasoline was pretty instant.
Yeah. Well, you guys are pros anyways, because you kept going when you had that electrical issue.
Oh my God. You want to know exactly what happened? I don't think we've said this publicly. So our our sound guy at the front of house running his board. It's a festival, so there's tons of bands setting up while the others are playing, and with those stages with a 5 minute changeover, it's like the other band sets up behind the wall before the stage rotates. So everyone is setting up all at the same time. There's just an infinite amount of equipment everywhere. Some sound guy walks up, and first I should say our sound guy was his board was plugged into this like cheap like $5 Walmart power strip, which shouldn't have been there, and for whatever reason was there, and that's all he was given to plug into. That was red flag number one, that something bad could potentially happen. This other sound guy plugs right into that with his equipment, with this giant rack of shit, which sucks all kinds of power, and it immediately tripped the breaker on the power strip and just shut down the power. So all of the signal bringing our music to the board to go out to the speakers was just cut. And we couldn't hear it because we have in-ears in. We don't have speakers on stage. So we're just playing like a bunch of damn buffoons for who knows, 15, 20 seconds with people on the side of the stage just waving like, yeah, there's nothing coming out. You gotta stop. And we eventually did. And, we had no clue what was going on. We were just mortified up on stage. But we just pushed through. We played the next song and we were back up and running. So that's a thing that happened. But, we finished strong.
You did. You
We
kept
just said,
going,
fuck it. Let's keep going. Like, there's
kept the
no,
energy. It was almost
yeah,
like it never happened, right?
yeah, no point in dwelling on that shit. Let's just keep ripping and move to the next thing. Because, I mean, what are we going to do at that point? Like, try to get an answer on stage? Like, what happened? We must know right this second. No, we just got to keep playing. We got to rip.
It's true.
Let's do it.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. That's the way to say it.
But yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys in Milwaukee. I know Chris is excited to see you guys in
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but I know I said enough about the new album. But once the album is released, are you guys planning any tours after that to tour with the album?
Yeah, we have quite a few things booked already. We've got some festivals coming up. We have the Emo's Not Dead cruise in January. We have almost 5 weeks in Australia in February and March on the Park Waves tour with Parkway Drive, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So pretty much up through the spring, we've got a lot going on. Um, Trying to think of what's been announced and what hasn't. Um,
I know Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple just got announced in May. Um, I think there's going to be another announcement tomorrow afternoon, another festival somewhere in the world. Oh, I should be prepared to know what I can and can't talk about. But we do have quite a bit booked. We're trying to get to some places internationally that we haven't been that we haven't headlined in a while. So things are still in the works, but the Census Fail tour is the focus right now.
Right.
And as we go, even without a headliner, we're still going to be playing new music, every show we have, whether it's a festival or this or that, because people like the new songs. It's not something that every band gets to enjoy. A lot of times bands will put out a new album and they're like, okay, do you guys mind if we do just one from the new one before we play all the shit you came here for? But we're at the point now where like the average festival set is Half Page Avenue, Half Tear Me to Pieces. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
we'll keep.
Hey, I like all the music that's come out from you guys. So anything,
We
I'll take
appreciate
it
it.
all.
Yeah.
Except for you guys won't really play like stuff from The Constant, which My Home
Yeah.
is like my favorite song, one of my favorite
I
songs
love
too,
that
and I've
song.
never heard that one live, I don't think.
We played it once in St. Louis and once in Japan.
I know I love that song. I don't know why.
I think it's amazing. I think that song really should have been pushed, especially in St. Louis, in our home,
Right?
you
In
know?
your home.
Yeah.
2005 took stature for that though. That was kind of a
Yeah.
nostalgia push right there.
Yeah, that's another song that I wish would have gotten a little more push. We didn't even do a radio edit, which we should have. To me that was the one. That was like the crossover song that could have been on, put that on any radio station that would have worked. But it's a fan favorite. We get to play it live. We get to play it at our headliners. People sing it. People feel the feels, and that's good. That's good enough
Yep.
for us.
That's good enough, right?
So looking back at your personal journey with the band, what has kept you motivated throughout the years?
I mean, being an artist, being a creative person, it motivation is a thing, inspiration is a thing that you kind of just can't turn off. There was, there was the time, like I said, when I wanted to try to just go be a normal person for a little bit, and it was kind of a dark time for the scene we came from and our band, and we had kind of lost our way, but that didn't it didn't kill my motivation, it just shifted it. Like I said, I can't ever turn it off. So being away from the band and then coming back and everything kind of falling back into place, reignited or recentered the motivation and the creative inspiration within the band. And we all kind of felt that to different degrees. We were all kind of we all kind of scattered, came back together, found each other again musically and as a group, as a band. More than anything now, it's feeling lucky to have experienced what we've experienced, had the success that we've had, and to still be here. You know, I my dogs are really barking. Um,
I thought that was my husband or something.
no, that's my wife coming home, and the dogs are they
Hey, the
want to
little
make her.
dogs are sometimes the loudest barkers.
They are God. Um, Jesus.
It's okay.
Apologies for the
We
edit.
can't hear them too much. It's okay.
Okay. I can definitely hear them. It's killing me. Um, what I was saying was more than anything, I feel lucky. You look at the number of bands, like just take the number of bands that were on Warped Tour in 2003, the first year that we were officially on as a signed band with an album. Hundreds, right? Like if you add up all the cities, all the people, all the bands that just played one or two shows, the locals, whatever, hundreds of bands at that time in our group of genres that we kind of all shared the Venn diagram, right? And you look at the number of bands that were still around 10 years later, the number of bands that were still around 20 years later, when this kind of resurgence started happening, we get When We Were Young, all this kind of stuff. And in my mind, it looks kind of like a tournament bracket almost. And I feel so lucky to be a part of the small group that not only can still go out and play shows and make a living because people still want to see us, we get to still make albums. But the four of us, we're still best friends and we're still in a band together. We're still the original four. Yes, we were a five piece. Now we're back to a four because we had a split. But I mean, it's the original four, and that's so rare. I mean, I could probably count on one hand the number of bands that I know. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty, but bands that I know of that remain the original lineup for the amount of time that we have. So that keeps me going, even when things are frustrating or I'm not feeling creative or we're having issues or we're on the road for a while and it gets hard to be away from home. It's it's being thankful and feeling lucky that we get to do this that that keeps us going probably until the day I die.
I knew that was gonna happen. I would like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it?
I tried not to, but I just there. What else do you say?
It's so true though. It's you had to say it.
Yeah.
Now I just have a random question because you said that. I've been to many a emo night.
hmm
How does it feel to know, if you don't know already, that Until the Day I Die, generally speaking, is the song that is first played to get the crowd going?
That's pretty amazing. Um, I've always felt like the song was kind of a foundational song in the genre, in the scene. And I don't want to say that in a way that sounds arrogant or boastful or whatever. Again, I feel lucky to be in a band that has a song like that. Um, so when emo nights started happening, I remember wondering, are they playing it? Does our shit get played? Do any of our songs get played? So it feels good to know that they do. Different DJs will play different things at different times. I have done this Star Wars themed emo night called Mosh Isley for years with friends from Star Wars podcasts, and sometimes in the set it doesn't. I feel like it's not right. It's not the right tempo for this or that or whatever. But still, it's a song that people really connect with, whether or not they know our band. That's the other thing about our band. In a lot of ways, I feel like we're Bananarama. It's like the song from Karate Kid, but do you know the band's name? Um, we're not a band that has like a crazy enigmatic lead singer who's in and out of scandals that people know because he's a weirdo. We're just like, we're a bunch of normal dudes, and we have a song that happened to really hit. We don't have like we don't have like a look. We're not theatrical. We're like we're like a grunge band or a hardcore band in a way. We've just been like, what's up? It's us. Check out these songs, and we happen to have a song that really really connects. So it's a really long-winded way of saying that yet again I feel so lucky to have that song, a song that we as young idiots were like, oh god, I gotta buy fucking Until the Day I Die again. Now in hindsight, I mean, we hit the fucking cosmic lottery with that song. Like, we didn't try to write it, we didn't force it, no one else wrote it for us, it just happened, and it happened at a perfect time, and it helped define a generation of music.
Mm-hmm.
We were in that like 3 or 4 year window, that handful of songs that defined the beginning of something going from underground to mainstream. And that's special, magical shit, man.
Yeah.
So I feel lucky yet again.
It's funny. I'll talk to like a younger coworker of mine and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, my favorite band story of the year." And they're like, "Who?" And then I'll be like, "You probably know their one song Until the Day I Die." They're like, "Maybe." And then I play it or something and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know that song."
Yep. I've had that experience as the person in the band when people ask, "So what kind of music is it? Would I know your song?" And they usually do.
Yeah. What would you tell an 80-year-old grandma
Oh
your
God.
band sounds like?
Rock music?
See,
I don't know.
that's always the consensus. It's like hard to explain different types
Yeah.
of genres to
Yeah,
an
how do you
old
explain
lady, I guess.
yeah, how do you tell an 80-year-old person what post-hardcore is? What emo is? What scream? Yeah.
Screamo.
It's like, we took like, Glass John Saves the Day and went and made it mainstream. Oh, do they sound anything like Sinatra? No.
You mentioned a Star Wars themed emo night. That does
Hmm.
sound super fun. But with that, I'd like to pivot to your podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank the maker. What first inspired you to start that podcast with Ryan, Nick, and Mike?
So Ryan Key and I were trying to start a podcast for a couple years. And originally it was just going to be, well, actually, the thing that sparked it, the very beginning, was The Force Awakens, which at the time we still didn't know the title of. There was going to be a new Star Wars film coming out. It was going to be a sequel. We made a no spoiler pact. Ryan and Ryan Mendez, also from Yellow Card, and Samir from Flyleaf. The four of us made a no spoiler pact. We're only going to watch the trailer in movie theaters. We if we have an opportunity to see the poster online, not even gonna look. You got to see it in person. You got to act like it's 1979 and we're waiting for the 1980 release of The Empire Strikes Back, right? So that's what we did. And as the release of the movie was approaching, I floated the idea of doing just like 2 episodes, just a 2 episode podcast where we talk about our expectations and then we review the movie after. It ended up not happening because there was some family health stuff going on. I just didn't have the time. That fell through. But I've always been a big podcast listener. I mean, 20 or more years now. It's been just kind of my daily, weekly thing. I listen to more podcasts than I do music, to be honest. So I knew I wanted to do that, and I brought it up to Ryan later and said, what if we just did one about our favorite movies that we grew up on, more like pop culture, popcorn, blockbuster type stuff. We'd start with Star Wars, and we'd of course do Terminator and Indiana Jones and Back to the Future, Top Gun, all the big stuff that we grew up on, 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So we had a whole format. We had a few names. Thank the Maker was one. Nerd Avenue was another one. We had like a few of these names floating around. So we said, okay, let's do it. We're going to record an episode. And literally the day before, Ryan calls me. I was working at Apple. He's like, hey man, you're going to fucking kill me. I know we're supposed to record tomorrow, but what if we just make it just a Star Wars podcast. And I remember walking around, I was on my break at Apple, and I was like walking into the bookstore. I'm like, I mean, yeah, we could have 6 movies and now 7 and then 8, 9, whatever, and the TV shows, but like we're gonna run out of shit. And he's like, man, Disney bought Star Wars. We're not gonna run out of Star Wars. And I remember walking into the bookstore, looking at the Star Wars books and going, yeah, you're right. I do love Star Wars. And that was it. We said, fuck it. The next day, we recorded our kind of just like our origin story episode. The next one was the Force Awakens. It took us a year though. Once we recorded that, it took us an entire year to like figure out our format, for me to edit it, to cut it up and learn how to be a podcast. And that came through editing, just like I learned how to be a filmmaker and a writer from seeing it and having to, rearrange it, figure out what it was missing, yada, yada, yada. That took us about a year. And then we finally did it. And I want to say that was January of 2000. Did the first handful of episodes. We were kind of every other week-ish with short ones in between. And we happened to be in Orange County to go to Galaxy's Edge for the first time. And Ryan had known Nick from Bayside from touring and whatnot, and mentioned that he was a big Star Wars fan. So we went to his house, had him record the Phantom Menace, I think, episode. Or no, Solo. I think it was Solo, as a guest. And we left. I remember sitting in the drive-thru at Taco Bell going, man, is Nick the third host? I mean, he might just be the, like, I think Nick is the dude. We weren't even thinking about another host. And almost instantly we were like, yeah, he's the guy. So we asked him, and that was that. And then Mike, I've told this story on the podcast. I told it a bunch of times. Mike is from the Detroit area of Michigan. He lives in the Upper Peninsula now, but he grew up in Detroit. And we actually met years ago. He was, it would have been the first or second album. Yeah, he was 17. I was 24. And I went to Catholic school. I have this tattoo from this retreat I went on with some friends. I'm long since no longer Catholic, but the retreat was a big thing for some friends of me. So I had this tattoo, and he saw it, and he came up to the barricade after the show and was like, "Hey man, that tattoo on your arm. Like, did you go to, like, what high school did you go to? What's that?" I told him about it, and we talked for a second. He and his friend were there, and I was like, "Oh, you guys want to come back and hang?" I was just like in a mood to hang. Like, come on, let's hang. Gave him beers and shit. Had no idea that they were 17 years old. Just like, yeah, you dudes are cool. Have a good night. Whatever. They left. Years later, Mike starts messaging me as a listener of the podcast and reminds me of this story, and I remembered it. And then, of course, filled me in like, dude, I don't want to tell you, but we were like 17 years old. That was the first beer I ever had. It was kind of wild. But either way, he was a great dude, became friends. We like just connected on all kinds of shit. And he ended up wanting to start a Star Wars podcast as well, and pitched it as it could be like a sister podcast. It could be the beginning of kind of a network. The idea was it was all about costuming. It'd be called Armor Party, which is what people in the costuming community call, kind of a gathering where, say, someone has a new set of like stormtrooper armor, right, or whatever. It's just raw plastic, and you got to cut it up and shape it and get it fitted and all that kind of stuff. You have an armor party, so you meet a bunch of other people that know how to do that. If you don't necessarily know how to do it yourself, everyone helps, and it's this good community kind of vibe. So he starts this podcast, Armor Party. It becomes part of Thank the Maker. And slowly over time, as Ryan started to get busier, and as we started to play shows again, he just started filling in. And after a certain point, we realized that he had been on almost as many episodes as Ryan. And it was like, dude, do you just want to be an official member of the podcast, an official co-host? I mean, nothing has to change. You don't need to like take on any kind of new workload. Like, you don't have to go tell your wife that now you have all these obligations or any kind of shit. Just be on the podcast. And then he, of course, said yes. And here we are almost 6 years in. And he kind of became the anchor to the whole thing because we all started touring much more. And we've got our buddy Jason Chiodo, who he's an audio engineer. He's a trailer mixer at Universal. So half of the trailers that you see coming out of Universal, Jurassic Park, anything else, he has mixed the audio. He's like one of the main dudes. And we met because we had mutual friends, but also he messaged me. There was something, our intro music, something was fucked up with it. And he's like, hey man, I noticed some like audio artifacts kind of going on in your intro there. I'm an audio engineer. I could, you know, help you out with that. It seems like it might be this. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man. Thank you. And never followed up because I'm terrible at messaging. Clearly, you guys have been trying to get me on the podcast forever. And eventually, I did message him back, and then Mike said, "Yeah, he's just, he's this guy who makes lightsabers, whatever." And then we got to be good friends, and we went on Star Cruiser together. And now he's our producer, he's our editor, he's become the anchor of the whole thing. So all the rest of us with our ADHD and all of our other shit, we just bounce off the fucking walls of the universe, and he holds us down.
It's crazy how you've made so many connections just through Star Wars.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, almost as many as being in a band now. It's kind of wild.
I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, we've made some connections just doing our podcast.
Yeah. You find your people, you find like-minded people getting into something. I was about to say niche. It's not that Star Wars is niche or that fandoms like that are niche, but the people that really go deep enough to do something like a podcast, you find that's a thinner slice of the Venn diagram,
Right.
So
Definitely.
inherently you find your people.
Yeah. I am curious, how do you guys decide which topics or pieces of Star Wars content you're going to focus on next?
I mean, some of it is a no-brainer. It's just automatic. If there's new content out, we're going to cover it. The volume 3 of Star Wars Visions just dropped yesterday, so we'll cover that next week. Sometimes we, a topic will pop up out of nowhere that feels cool, or we meet someone or someone messages us, like the folks from Rebel Scum Con. They've got a new thing that they want to come on the podcast and talk about it. Some of it, it'll be topics that we've been thinking forever, or we're trying to figure out how do we make this into an episode, or listen to a different podcast. And like the idea of doing like a movie draft or a character draft that I stole directly from the Ringer Podcast Network. They do movie drafts by year, or they'll do like a type of movie or whatever. So I took that idea. I'm not a sports person, so the idea of like drafting, like doing a like fantasy draft style, it even though I'm not into sports, it makes sense. And like, we could do like a character version with Star Wars, So we come up with these concepts to kind of fill the space between covering topics. But then sometimes it's like literally the day of, like, dude, what the fuck are we going to talk about? And then some news pops up and there's a discussion. We're a conversational podcast for the most part. It doesn't have to be a straight up interview. It doesn't have to be like a structured coverage type of things with segments. So being this deep into the fandom, we can easily spend an hour talking about anything
Yeah.
and make it relatively compelling and listenable.
Yeah. Speaking more on like fandom, how do you balance your humor and fandom and critique when discussing, such a beloved franchise?
Balance it in what sense when you say humor?
I mean, I know you probably have like side discussions and everything and get a little more less serious in some of the talk, because I know I've heard you on podcasts, but
Yeah.
do you guys keep humor out of it?
No, I mean, early on, it was a lot more unhinged. I think fucking A was like the first thing that came out of my mouth after the intro on the first one. Actually, what like calmed that down a little bit and got us like watching the language and censoring with beeps and everything was Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, one of the most beloved characters in Star Wars. Ryan met her like the day that our podcast launched, met her on a plane and told her about the podcast, and they kept in touch. They're now longtime friends, and her thing was I'll come on the podcast, but it has to be clean. You know, she's a big presence with the Disney fandom as well, you know, so we had to kind of clean it up to get her on the podcast basically, which was good generally as well because like the way the algorithm handles things, you just kind of got to do it. So a little bit of that and a little bit of also just like it being something that we care so much about. You know, it truly is a modern mythology. It's like my religion. It's something I care so deeply about those stories and storytelling in general. That universe is my one. It's like my primary escape. You know, I watch. It's like it's it might seem contradictory to like the kind of person I am or the kind of band that we are. You know, like although we have serious music, it's like we might as well be, you know, Tom DeLonge and and Mark Hoppus. It's like, you know, dick and fart jokes until we're
Well,
dead.
if anyone's ever listened to the Story of the Year podcast, they should know.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So, but like Star Wars, yes, I have a great sense of humor about it. I mean, we built our social media following on memes, but I don't know. It just like it lives in a different place
Hmm.
in my mind and for me emotionally. And you know, like even I mentioned this in some of the earliest episodes, like you know, like the Leia in the bikini in the metal bikini thing is never has never been a thing for me. You know, she's always been like a maternal figure for me. You know, I feel I Star Wars is like family to me. Like I don't I don't like seeing it sexualized. I don't like a lot of times I don't like parody stuff with it. It's just kind of dorky, as funny as that is to say, that this nerdy thing of Star Wars could, talking about it in a certain way could be dorky to me. You know, it's hard to explain. Uh, I just care so deeply about it. So, yeah, there's nothing conscious in terms of like balancing the tone of the podcast, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
It's just kind of inherent, and we're all on really similar pages in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we click together as hosts and as people who want to continue talking to each other about this made up universe after all these years.
So are you telling me you don't like Spaceballs then?
I don't really like it that much. Like I it's funny, but I don't know. I Star Wars is just so fucking cool to me. Like it's the coolest shit ever made, ever. I parodies of it, I guess I like the bar is higher, I guess. The bar is like unreasonably high for me when it comes to trying to parody Star Wars. Like Robot Chicken's amazing, Family Guy is amazing. Spaceballs, nah, I don't know. I think it's all great humor, but in terms of parodying Star Wars, I'm like, yeah. Parodying Star Trek, much easier. Big fan of Star Trek. And even like the, you know, the self parody, the, you know, I don't know if either of you follow Star Trek or anyone listens to this, but Lower Decks, the animated series,
I've
it's
seen
it's
little bits
incredible.
and pieces, but I haven't actually watched it.
It's really really good. It's like
It looks funny.
the references and the humor goes about as deep into Star Trek as I am with Star Wars, but I'm not on that level with Star Trek, so I miss a lot of it. But just generally speaking, it's damn well done. Um, it is Family Guy esque almost, or Seth MacFarlane esque.
Right.
Now, if you could interview anyone from the Star Wars universe, who would it be?
Um, you say so? You're asking from the Star Wars universe, as in an actor or a character, or anyone involved? Period, like writers, directors, and so on.
Anybody.
Um, either Dave Filoni, co-creator of The Clone Wars, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, all of that. He's the chief creative director. Is that his title? The buck stops with him basically, until it gets to the money and things. Kathleen Kennedy and then Disney and Bob Iger, and I got a lot of things to say about Bob Iger. But Dave Filoni, because he's a fan like to the core. He is George Lucas's protege. He's the guy. But on an even deeper, nerdier level, John Knoll, who was who joined ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, I want to say in the 90s sometime. So not a part of the original crew. He's not that old. He's much older than me, but he he's one of the co-creators of Photoshop. He and his brother created Photoshop. He's responsible for so much technology and the kind of like the second era of Star Wars, that era of ILM that created the prequels and everything. He's such a genius on like a technical level and a storytelling level and everything. He's just one of those brains that I would just love to pick. I mean, I don't know how I would even interview that guy. He's the kind of dude I would just want to like bro down with and talk to.
Well, that's exactly how you interview with them then. You just
Yeah,
talk, chat,
yeah,
make it a conversation, not an interview.
yeah. We'll see. Maybe one day. We
Maybe
have
one day.
we're we're about 1 degree of separation from him. We know a handful of people who've worked directly with him, so maybe we'll see one day.
Maybe. Now I'm gonna jump really far away from Star Wars here.
Okay,
You're still a vegan, right?
I am.
I'm gluten free and I try to eat dairy free as much as possible. Now, what
Hmm.
what is your favorite vegan dish?
I it's changed a handful of times over the years, but I think as of right now, my wife and I just ate at Crossroads Kitchen in Vegas. And when we were young, we've eaten there before. I've had this before, but having it a second time recently, I'm pretty confident it is the lion's mane steak.
Okay.
It's a lion's mane mushroom. People may be familiar. It's a giant mushroom that has like such a meaty quality and texture to it. It almost freaks me out, you know? And the way they prepare it with this kind of like wine sauce and this steak sauce kind of thing, it looks really bloody. I mean, it's wild. It's got like a prime rib kind of vibe to it, the tenderness and the color and everything, and like the root of the mushroom or whatever the base is called, the whiteness in it has that kind of like it almost looks like the fat in the prime rib, that with the potatoes that come on the side with it. It's like a death row meal. It's like a final meal kind of level thing to me. Um, it's an expensive meal, but it's unbelievable how good it is.
Yeah, I had a portobello mushroom burger once. It was just not a burger, it was just a bunch of portobello mushrooms. But I mean, it tasted like I was eating a burger, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot of different mushrooms really have that like meaty texture. There's also chicken of what's it called? Chicken of the forest or hen of the no, chicken of the woods, hen of the woods.
Yeah.
Those are two different varieties. They're more chicken-like.
My husband's an
And
outdoorsy guy, so he's always like, "Oh,
yeah,
turkey tail and all this." He talks about all these mushrooms when we go
yeah,
hiking or something, and I'm just like, "Oh,
yeah,
what's this mushroom?"
yeah. I end up like Jack Black and Tenacious D
Yeah.
going down the Strawberry River with Sasquatch.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that they still do it. There's a bar in Bayview, Wisconsin, which is not that far from Milwaukee. It's called the Palomino.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a vegan menu, and they make some really great like vegan things. Like I think they have cheese curds that are vegan,
Nice.
I
There,
believe. But
there's a
yeah.
spot like I don't know, a dozen blocks from the rave in Milwaukee that is like a food hall kind of thing.
Oh, the
Um,
public market.
yeah, and there's at least one vegan place in there that my wife and I went to last time we played there. I can't remember what it's called, but I think I want to say we had breakfast sandwiches from there or something. We had some really good shit.
Yeah.
I, this is this is the worst Yelp review ever because I don't remember what the fuck it was even called. But there's a spot in there and it's good. So if you're vegan in Milwaukee and you haven't been there, figure it out.
Hopefully it's still there at the public market then.
Yeah.
I am curious too, like what is your favorite vegan cheese brand?
Um, it depends on the type of cheese, but Daya overall is kind of the most consistent in terms of like something that melts, that you can cook in a similar way to dairy cheese. Their American slices are amazing, perfect for grilled cheese or anything else you want to melt cheese on. Um, I use those in mac and cheese along with their cheddar shreds for just plain slices to eat cold, like on crackers or, in like a cheese and crackers kind of vibe. Chow, their traditional, just, original flavor is great. There's also Violife.
I like the
Violife.
Violife.
Yeah. Yeah. They have really good shreds. I mean, a lot more companies now. It's kind of crazy how many. I mean, even like Aldi. Do you guys
Hmm.
have Aldi up there?
Mm.
Yeah,
Um, their non-dairy cheese is not bad. Everything. It's like since it all varies a little bit, like what the base is.
right.
There, different things are better for different applications. Like the Aldi mozzarella is actually great for poutine. It has that like curd kind of vibe to it when it melts. It doesn't melt in the same way as the Daya stuff. Um, there's another brand called like Via or Via or Vio or something. They've
I
had
think
it at
there's a
Costco
van
recently.
I think there's one that starts with a P too. I don't remember. There's
Yeah,
too many. There's too many now,
yeah.
actually.
And it's a good problem to have. What's your favorite?
Right? I like the Violife.
Yeah,
They make a good sour cream too.
yeah.
Well,
What's
fake sour
interesting?
cream.
What's interesting now though? Oh, Tofutti sour cream is also like the go-to. Um, the so many companies are making non-dairy butters now and things, and like cream, like Country Crock makes it's called plant cream. It's like a thick whipping cream. My wife just made tomato soup with that. They have butter, non-dairy butter in the tub. You can get the sticks as well. There's like so many more options now. I mean, 20
Yeah.
years ago when I started, it was rough.
Oh yeah,
Shit
when
was
I
rough.
had to start being gluten free, it was kind of rough, but now it's like a lot more gluten free items are
Hmm.
getting out there now.
Yeah.
They're still expensive because
Right. Of
they
course.
cost way more than regular items, but whatever.
Yeah. That's
Whatever I can
economies
do
of
to make
scale.
my gut feel happier.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And here I am, not caring and just destroying my gut every day.
Yeah,
Rip it up.
didn't you try to go dairy free
I
once?
was dairy free and gluten free for a while, and then
You
I was a
stopped.
weak son of a bitch.
Dairy's heavy, man. Like my wife and I we will definitely eat dairy. We'll eat vegetarian if it is, if it's offered, if someone has made something that's vegetarian purposely, but it includes dairy. We feel like philosophically it does more harm to be a stickler and not eat it than it does to, be gracious and say thank you. Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, these damn vegans, you can't make them happy. I feel like you're
Yeah,
hurting more animals long term that way. And also, I don't ever want to see anything go to waste. So I'll eat an entire cheese pizza myself before I'll watch it go in the trash. I'm not about to let some cow get their ass kicked for no reason whatsoever.
right.
So yeah, that said, dairy, like, yeah, man, heavy on the body.
Yeah. Speaking of animals that got their ass kicked, our final question: what is your favorite dinosaur?
Ah, dude, that's a good question. What's what's interesting about this is most people would probably answer, most casuals would probably answer the Velociraptor or something that they've seen in Jurassic Park. And most of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are misrepresented for cinematic reasons, which is understandable. Didn't exist in the same time period, weren't the same size, didn't look anything like that. Um, I was always a fan of the herbivores, the big, Diplodocus, Brontosaurus types. Stegosaurus was always cool. But as cliche as this is, I think T-Rex, because I like the cultural history of understanding and relearning and unlearning what T-Rex was, what kind of animal T-Rex was, all dispelling the misinformation from Hollywood, all that kind of stuff. Like the story of Tyrannosaurus Rex is as cool as the animal itself. And now understanding that that was just a giant bird with tiny little arms and no wings is wild to think about. And they probably had some of the best vision actually in Earth's history, despite what Jurassic Park would tell you, despite what Michael Crichton turned into a story beat, a story device. And they just look badass, They like with even somehow it's like cooler that the fact that they can look so badass with those damn arms is just something to be respected.
It's funny, I've never thought about really the story of T-Rex and how we've discovered more and more about it throughout the years and
Yeah,
how much it's changed. I mean, I'm pretty sure like right when they first discovered it, they thought that it used its tail for support to stand upright.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's like just morphed over the years to then like being hunched over and crazy.
Yeah. Now you think about like an animal that size running at the speed of like I don't know what their top speed but it was terrifying, like outrunning a car. Um, Something that size is just hard to wrap your brain around. There's actually a great video that just came out. The Corridor Crew, Corridor Digital. I don't know if you're familiar with that YouTube channel. They're a visual effects YouTube channel. They do the visual effects artist react series. If you've ever seen that, um, the way I found them was a series that one of the guys has made. The VFX artist shows the true scale of XYZ, whatever. He's done a bunch over time. The most recent one is dinosaurs. The one I found them with was the true scale of Star Wars. He put like a Star Destroyer over Manhattan. He put the Death Star next to the Earth, all that kind of stuff. But the latest one is the true scale of dinosaurs, and he puts them in the same kind of context, next to their building where they shoot in front of, next to a car, next to, XYZ landmark that you've seen. And we've all seen stuff like that ish, through the years, but he does it really, really well. And it it's funny that you bring this up because this has been on my mind the past couple days. I think I just watched this, last Friday or something.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah.
You're talking
It's good.
about scale and stuff. It makes me think of like the old kids movie Prehistoria, where they have all the tiny little dinosaurs.
I don't know if I ever saw that.
You never saw that little
No.
movie?
What
There's
year?
these kids,
Which
they found these like miniature dinosaurs and they're hiding them in like their room.
it sounds vaguely familiar.
You probably would know it if you saw like a picture of it or something and looked
Yeah.
it up. You'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that weird movie." There were a lot of dinosaur movies growing up as a kid. Like you had We're Back, a dinosaur story. It's got the singing dinosaur.
The one that I remember, which is really obscure now and harder to find, it was I think it was called Baby Legend of the Lost something.
See, I don't remember that.
It was 93, Jess.
Okay.
Prehysteria.
Prehysteria?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Historia, whatever. It's close enough.
Baby was I want to say that was mid 80s.
Oh, I got someone else Googling on this podcast.
Got to do it. Baby Secret of the Lost Legend. Who was in this? Oh, Bill Norton directed this.
No
William
one's
Cat,
name. I don't.
Sean Young.
Yeah, I don't recognize these names.
No.
I feel like I may have seen this movie once in my lifetime.
It's really cool. It's a little baby brontosaurus or something like that. Um,
Well, it's not a Brachiosaurus, and that's my favorite dinosaur. No, I was kidding.
that's a good one.
Everyone's always like, "What's the Brachiosaurus?" And I'm like, "It's the dinosaur that sneezes on them in the tree in Jurassic Park."
Yeah. Boogers. So you're just into dino boogers, is what you're saying.
Apparently, I like boogers, dinosaur boogers. I mean, it was a funny part of the movie, so it did stick with me.
It's solid. Okay, hold on. This it's available everywhere. I mean, you got to buy it or rent it, but
I bet I could get my friend to get it on his server.
it's on Amazon. Yeah, it's there. Nice. Well, yeah, it's rentals. It's not streaming anywhere. Either way, it's available.
Well, I'm gonna have my friend find it, and I'll let you know
Yeah.
what I think of it and see if I've seen it. I don't remember it, but it kind of looks familiar.
It's a little animatronic dinosaur, it's like yay tall.
It's kind of
4
like
feet
doing
tall.
like those dinosaur adventures that they do now. Didn't you
Yeah.
take your kids to that, Chris?
The
Walking
what?
Like the
walking with
dinosaur
dinosaurs.
adventure thing?
No, the New York State Fair had like a dinosaur exhibit in one of our
So they
buildings.
had animatronic dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
those are always fun.
Good shit.
But yeah, the dinosaur question was our final and most important question.
It's a great place to wrap it up.
I know, right? That's why we stop with that one every time. And somehow the conversation continues on afterwards. I don't know how that happens.
Always.
It's a
People love
Midwest
dinosaurs.
thing.
It is, yeah.
Chris
We're all
always
looking
gives
for
me
bones.
crap for my Midwest goodbyes, and he's all like, Irish goodbye, bye.
Yep.
It's a personality type thing.
It is. But yeah, so thanks so much for finally getting on the podcast and getting back to us. I mean, I think I've been trying to get you on here for like almost a year.
Well, thank you for having me. I know, apologies to anyone listening to this who is the host of, the half dozen other podcasts that have been trying to get me on for 2 years, and I'm just the worst. So maybe this is the beginning of me turning over a new leaf.
Maybe. Maybe. Is there anything else you want to say to anyone still listening?
Aside from watching the video as many times as possible and pre-saving the album, I would say get tickets to see us with Senses Fail next month or the following month, depending on where you are. And anyone in any of the places that we're not reaching, we'll be there sooner than later. So thank you in advance,
Thank you in advance. And thanks
and may the
again for
force be
coming
with
on.
you.
May
Yeah,
the force be with you. Thanks again for coming on.
right on. Have a good night, folks.